Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to Disco Elysium. I, of course, am Wanda Wicks, she, her, and we're heading into the climax, although I assure you, not the ending, of Disco Elysium. I do apologize for the disruption last week. I trust that Zed kept you entertained in my absence. And while I'm apologizing for things, or at least explaining them, I will let you know that in the intervening time period, I did refresh my memory on some things about this game, and I figured out why I wasn't able to trigger the whole twins plotline that you may remember me flailing about with and not being able to activate. Apparently, that's a whole plotline that only triggers when you actually fail that first Shivers check at the mural, not succeed, but then the system tells you it fails. Very different. Anyway, because it's relevant, I'm just going to mention what we missed. Lillian's twins, if you fail the Shivers check and need a hint of being able to get under here, they mentioned that they heard some strange, naughty words. And they have no explanation for where those words came from. You're able to recognize them as coming from Speed Freaks FM, the radio station that Kim listens to in the car. But there's no radio around. And there's some digging you can do, a little detective work. You can actually call into the radio station. There's even an exclusive item that you can get that the radio station will send you. We're not going to be able to get that item, unfortunately. But it lets you know that for whatever reason, people in and around this area have been hearing things, like radio stations, in their head. And I'll let you know it's not coming through their fillings. We're about to go confront Ruby. Because we need a guilty party. We need, as Joyce said, a suspect to deliver to the criminal court to prevent the tribunal, which is to say, the massacre of the Crenell mercenaries taking revenge on the Hardy Boys for, they believe, lynching their commander. And it's worth asking ourselves, is it worth it? I mean, we're pretty certain that Ruby is guilty, or at least involved, but there are a few nagging questions. Questions like, why didn't the boot prints in the pinball arcade? Why didn't they have an odd soul? If Ruby did, in fact, take the shot from the rooftop, why didn't Klaja, or anyone else in the Whirling in Rags, hear the gunshot? It's a convenient suspect, and we could probably secure a conviction if we arrest her. But did she do it? And quite frankly, does it matter? I mean, if it's to save the lives of the 2 mercenaries, or the 7 Hardy Boys, or to prevent the massacre of hundreds of dock workers, potentially, is it worth sacrificing one person, who we know for a fact is certainly a criminal, possibly a violent one? Does your answer change if you remember that we've learned that in this world, criminals are executed via the electric chair? And does it change your answer again if I remind you that Ruby was contemplating suicide? Well, either way, before we go confront her, we're looking way the hell too normal. Let's fix our outfit, shall we? Let's see here. I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to let you know that the main thing we're gonna need is pain threshold. There's also gonna be some rhetoric checks, but I don't think we need to boost that because our rhetoric is already at an 11. We are gonna go ahead and boost some other things, though. We got one left. I'm sure it's fine. Alright, Kim. Let's go deal with a crazy radio technician.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice.
Behold, Ruby, the instigator. Also, in addition to content warning for possible impending violence, we're gonna be hearing a lot of noise.
It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse.
Says the shadowy figure by the machine.
Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
As she says the word officer, you feel a spike in the agony. It sounds like the entire radio frequency range is screaming directly into your neural pathways.
This is a pretty effective booby trap. In her place under the abandoned building here, there's only one way that you can get to her. At least, if you don't want to swim. And she just has this set up to affect the entire area. No need to aim, no need for reflexes. Convenient. Let's cover our ears.
No, buddy, that's not going to help. You can't shield yourself from this. It's an entirely new type of experience. Way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
I don't think we're gonna do that. What's happening to me?
I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing. It's the ULAN frequency.
You'll remember, we found some stuff about Ruby messing around with weird radio frequencies when we searched her lorry.
Blasted from that pale emitter that Angus mentioned.
Fat Angus called this a pale emitter. In fact, it's the opposite. Fat Angus said you had a pale emitter.
That boy's really gotta learn to keep his trap shut. And it's not a bloody pale emitter. It doesn't emit pale. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale, literally crunch the distance across it.
You'll remember the nature of the pale is that it eats information. So, how do you get across with your information intact? Just broadcast all the information at once.
Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
We're not going to make this check because we're not statted for empathy, even with that point I just put into it. But if we had a high enough empathy here, we'd be able to register that she used to have a girlfriend who did that job. Keyword used to.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
He gestures towards something with great effort.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world.
Not necessarily. I mean, space, I'll let you know, is a type of information. It's basically particles agreeing with each other on how far apart they are. That's why gravity messes it up. Gravity leaks between dimensions, so the particles don't agree. Anyway.
At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She likes telling you about the machine. Keep her talking. Look for an opportunity to break loose.
I'll be honest, I fall into this trap sometimes myself. Get me talking about something and, well, I just go. Anyway, how'd you get your hands on this thing?
I built it myself.
She nods towards her torture device.
And she's proud of it too. As she ought to be. This is way beyond your abilities.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah, way beyond.
She studies her death ray and the law officials trapped in it. Have you experienced the compressor yourself?
Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through.
And that's the explanation for how the twins heard the radio station. This thing has already been used and tested before we even got here. There's another victim of this device, but I'll talk more about him later. Will I stay like this forever?
No. Once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream.
This is all great, but let's talk about the man who was killed.
Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not cops, and of herself merely as prey.
I mean, yeah. Please, could you just turn it down so I can ask you something?
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise.
You're looking for a deal with my mattress.
The lieutenant clutches his head, grimacing.
God damn it.
She regards you and Kim with sudden sympathy. I'm gonna let you know, if you come in under here without Kim, either because you don't let him in or because you choose to come in here after hours, you do not survive this. If Harry gets caught in this field alone, Ruby just executes you. You're alive because she thinks of Kim as innocent, or at any rate, not a threat to her the same way you are. She's gonna explain why in a moment. Suffice to say, Ruby does have sympathy for people, and we know that, well, she thinks of herself as ethical from the fact that she tested this device on herself before using it on another person. She's maybe not all bad. Certainly not all bad in her own mind.
Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
She steps reluctantly out of the shadows. The pain lessens. And you can see the visual effect on the screen lessens as well.
The gun she's carrying is a two-barreled front loader, not like the murder weapon. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but she can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. There's only 3 meters between you and the machine. If you keep her distracted for long enough, maybe.
How did you know we were coming?
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while.
By hiding bullets under floorboards?
So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised.
She didn't rat you out, by the way. Isabel, the washerwoman.
So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find in my back.
As opposed to the other knives she's finding there now. Hardy for one.
Preparing for the worst?
I was. Before I caught you in the pale latitude compressor. I'm fine now.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit.
Did you shoot Lily?
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first.
When I threatened to arrest her, Klaja broke. She told me everything.
Oh. Well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me?
Titus told me. It took some convincing.
Oh, fuck. Took some convincing my ass. Those guys liked me, I know it. This is what happens to people whom people like.
A dull despair is creeping into her voice.
How the fuck do the rest of you get by?
Does she mean that you're not a person whom other people like?
Wait, wasn't it you who called me the human can opener? It's not personal. I opened them up.
I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same.
I do it by asking questions. And I have some for you.
Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
Note, she adjusts her grip on her gun.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
Would you say that Lely was a likable person?
I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types.
There's nothing more personal that you had against him? Perhaps his way with women?
You think I was envious of his conquests? Look, pussy's not a problem for me, and definitely not a reason to off someone.
Did you feel protective of the Union?
Yeah, sure. And I didn't like Wild Pines sending in those foreign hirelings. Me and a fuck ton of other people around here.
I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but I don't think she's perjuring herself.
You don't feel sympathy for mercs? It's hard work.
Plenty of broken people who don't come with that kind of body count. Besides, they're paid well for what they do.
All right, I have other questions.
I'm listening.
Do you have an alibi for when Lely was shot?
Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon me.
They did say you left to take a really long leak, 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time.
Our investigation, has shown that 15 minutes was just enough time to commit the murder.
Wow, now I'm curious. Please, explain.
Look, there's a secret way from the first floor of the Whirling to the roof.
Don't know it, but also...
She frowns, studying your face.
Evaluating your competence as a police officer.
The shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
The pain stops him from finishing the sentence. You have a gun.
And?
I see it's a front loader. Do you have another gun somewhere?
Sure don't.
The breech loader?
No.
This is such a wipeout.
Where did you get it?
The gun store.
What gun store?
Trigger Happy Jacks.
That doesn't sound like the name of a real store.
What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal.
Do you collect guns? Maybe old rifles?
No, they're not practical. Break too often.
There's other evidence I want to ask you about.
Yeah, evidence.
You liked Klasia a lot.
I considered her a good friend, yeah.
Is peeping one of your hobbies?
I'm not following your clever insinuations, Detective.
There's a hole in the wall. You can see into Klasia's room. I wouldn't blame you if you've...
If I want to stare at a pretty girl, I can pick one up at a bar. Or, worst case scenario, look at a naughty photo. Who has time to go skulking about the Whirling, drilling holes in walls?
Klasia looks like a girl in one of your posters. She seems to be your type.
What the fuck, man? She's everyone's type. She's your type. Are you sure you're not the one who was excited about the peephole?
She's beginning to suspect you've broken into her lorry now.
So you haven't been watching Klasia through a hole in the wall.
Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. That je ne sais quoi that makes it impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize, for the same reason that she's everyone's type as an object of desire, she's not irreplaceable.
That's the unfortunate thing about beauty. Female beauty in particular. At least in this and other similar patriarchal cultures. Men can look all different kinds of ways. But, generally speaking, an attractive woman is an attractive woman. I should know, I am one. But you wanted to be more than just friends.
Oh, so that's where you were going with this.
She said you wanted to run away with her.
That's a very sentimental way of putting it. We both had pasts we didn't want to catch up with us, and we enjoyed listening to music together. Why not go on a road trip?
The lieutenant watches her expectantly, occasionally shaking from the pain.
Okay, fine. I was into her. Klasia was into me too for a time, I know it. We even fooled around once. And yeah, after that I thought maybe we could make a go of it.
Klasia only said they maybe kissed. Someone is lying here.
Klasia said you only kissed.
If that's what she wants on the record, so be it. I'm not about to go into details for you to jerk off to later.
Seriously, just move on.
Then what happened?
She rejected me with some wishy-washy bullshit about how she was confused because she felt so close to me and valued my friendship so much, and how guilty she felt for leading me on.
The taste of your cherry chapstick, perhaps.
I knew that wasn't the whole story, but thought, fine, I'll take it and move on.
Klasia said you got very angry when she started sealing Lely. Threatened her.
Yeah, one time when we'd both been drinking, I said some heated things about how dangerous her patterns with men were.
Not wrong.
I was a little worried she'd blow it out of proportion in her head. All the drugs she was doing can make you feel like you're living in a DeLorean tragedy.
By the way, DeLorean tragedies are still held in high regard for innovation in language and motifs. They are also known for overwrought emotions leading to catastrophic outcomes.
You know, Romeos and Juliets and so forth. And despite everything, you helped her by staging the lynching?
Yeah, the girl seemed terrified. The merc was beyond caring what happened to his mortal coil. It was a no-brainer.
There are other things I ask about?
Go ahead. It's your body.
Do you like to hang out on rooftops?
Who doesn't? Oh, you probably mean Claudia's rooftop. Sure, I've hung out there. She's got this great antenna.
Is that the only reason you hung out on the roof?
The view's pretty bomb, too. But you might say the antenna was the main attraction there, yeah. Along with Claudia.
What's so great about her antenna?
It's very powerful. I used it to tune into RCM frequencies. That's how I knew to be prepared for your arrival.
So you're sure you didn't shoot the merc from the roof?
Yes, I'm sure. And anyway, as I said before, the shot had to have come from afar.
Did you leave any flowers for Claudia on the roof?
No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style.
These weren't just flowers. They symbols of revolution pushed through the pain.
So now I'm leaving revolutionary symbols around? Come on.
But Claudia was mourning.
I never did understand why, when someone dies, a hothouse's worth of flowers has to die too.
Fair point. Okay, so you didn't leave Maybelle's.
No, I did not.
You've been running drugs for the Union. I've been through your lorry.
So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician.
Maybe twist the knife, just in case. Make her more desperate.
You'll recall, it wasn't Tommy who clued us in. It was the fat racist. And even then, only after we pretended to be peonies for La Puta Madre. No, he didn't. I found my own way in.
Okay, great. You got into my lorry on your own. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking?
A bitter smile. You're a criminal. I can't trust anything you say.
That's your prerogative.
You had a financial incentive to kill the merc.
Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the Union.
The lieutenant is unable to articulate his question.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum.
She turns the knob down just a millimeter.
There. It's going to be easier to reach the machine now.
But you're threatening us with it,
Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum.
she responds, holding your gaze. Okay, let's take a step back.
Yeah? Where?
Who killed the merc if it wasn't you?
How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
She is a radio expert, after all.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Claus's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while.
What happened Sunday night? Tell me your version.
She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
He struggles to finish the sentence.
Alright, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Klasha comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her.
Wait, did she also seem high to you?
Oh yeah, super. But I didn't think too much of it at first. I'd seen her party hard before.
Klaja said you knew something was wrong immediately.
No, I really didn't. She's not that easy to read. I just assumed she'd done too much blow. It wouldn't be a first for her. But no such luck. She was in some deep shit. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
Klaja said you seemed to have a plan prepared when you got there.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea.
Her idea?
Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone.
You can see it. Her lips, though still white, don't seem to tremble as much anymore. She moves with focus and deliberation.
She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy Boys.
She lied to you about that, too.
That's bad. That she'd be so calm.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed.
I mean, we know that Klaja was involved in espionage and had been dealing with people coming after her. Who's to say how much experience she has with violence and covering it up? Do you think she killed Lely herself?
As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
I mean, maybe she French kissed him with a bullet in her mouth and pressed up with her tongue really hard.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried this lynching might lead to...
The lieutenant forces himself to finish the sentence.
War? The thought crossed my mind. But the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going...
She doesn't want to talk about this, but not because she has something to hide. She doesn't want the guilt.
It's amazing how people can reinterpret events they've had a part in after the fact when they're trying to redefine who they are, especially if they take their own ethics seriously.
Fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me.
If you didn't kill him, why hide?
I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
And here is a new wrinkle.
So this is what she was scared to tell Titus. This cop.
What do you mean, La Puta Madre agent?
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell. And why me? You hear through the white noise. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Who's everyone? How do you know this?
Everyone in Jamrock. The cops, the criminals. Why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Consider. Harry Dubois, we know. Drug addict, we know. Erratic behavior, we know. Keeps his partner and the rest of his team on, shall we say, well, at arm's length. We don't have a memory of our past, and we certainly wouldn't write anything down about being dirty. Is Harry dirty? Have we been an agent for La Puta Madre this whole time? Big twist. Tell me, what's my name? If you know that about me, you must know my name.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to La Puta Madre.
So she knows your name. That doesn't mean you're on the tape. Criminals make up bogeyman stories about cops all the time. All of this just means that you're effective. Criminals know you and are scared of you.
La Puta Madre. I've heard of La Puta Madre. He's dangerous, right?
Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both.
No, that was a real question.
Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe you.
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough.
A man in a white suit walks through a garden coaxed from soil that had once been covered in asphalt. A city block closed off from the rest of the city by dark buildings.
That's our only peek at the man that everyone's afraid of. I love how vague it is, and yet also how vivid.
Rows and rows of poppies, most of which have lost their pink bloom, flank his steps. The man looks around, then up at the sky, sighs. Taking out a knife, he crouches at the end of one flower bed. He scores a seapod, very gently. Milky sap begins to ooze out. The pain comes over you again.
It's worth noting Shivers connects us to the world spirit of Revachol, which includes both cops and criminals. While we are an agent of the city for keeping harmony and making sure that things carry on the way they should, who's to say Revachol does not love him too? What did you do to this Madre anyway?
You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus.
Wait, one thing, possibly small, but she said you roll into town. Was that you singular or plural? She might know something.
As you wish, Rhetoric. When I came into town, was there anyone with me?
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway?
Who was in this squad?
Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had 2 guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either.
And now here's another new piece of information. We know that our partner, Jean Vicmer, and Patrol Officer Judith Minot were with us. Who's this other guy? He's buff, apparently. What else can you tell me?
One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying.
Chipper blonde. No points for guessing, but you probably know.
That sound about right?
No idea who these people are, literally.
No, that doesn't ring any bells.
Well, this has been a great talk, really. But I think I'm going to hit the road now.
She means it. You better make your move soon.
Do you know about the bunker next door?
What bunker?
The communist hideout back there.
Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp. But I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
Her voice trails off into white noise in your head. It feels like an aneurysm approaching. If it weren't for our healing items, by now we'd be dead.
Keep calm. Breathe in. After the pain recedes, it's a little clearer.
97%. Always a chance we fail on Snake Eyes. Let's go. Fight through the pain.
You did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but...
This, I think, is one of the tragedies of the game, and one of the paths that, unfortunately, we can't follow. I am very, very curious what would have happened in a world where we make peace with Ruby and then take this pale latitude compressor to the church and fire it straight up into the swallow. Can the swallow be contained forever? Or even erased? Like I said, I think there is hope for this world. And especially given the fact that we found out that the swallow is a pale seed, after the events of this game, who's to say what researchers discover and invent, if this is possible? Anyway, back to the actual narrative. You okay, Kim?
All good, officer. Be careful.
She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
And now, the really important check. Like I said, content warning for possible violence. And definite violence later. But right now, let's hope not.
Oh, fuck it.
She puts the barrel of the gun into her mouth. Red check, our only shot. But fortunately, we're optimized for this. Because I saw this coming. Convince her to put the gun down.
She's truly desperate. She thinks she has no other options. You need to give her options.
What options?
You know.
Please. Just walk away.
She stares at you, frozen, the gun still in her mouth, eyes filled with dark intensity. Then something shifts in her. Her neck and shoulders relax, and her grip on the gun loosens.
You don't have to do this. You're not cornered. I'm letting you go.
Day of miracles.
She
I'll
says,
take it.
pulling the gun out of her mouth, eyes still fixed on you. Then she turns her gaze to the tunnel behind you. At this point in the game, we can be pretty certain she didn't do it. Might as well. At any rate, this is the choice we're making. The only other choice, and the reason why I gave you a content warning, if I had failed that check or picked different options, you would have been treated to, well, let's just say it isn't censored. You're welcome.
She runs past you, then past the lieutenant, and disappears into the darkness of the tunnel.
Those are our options. There is no ability to arrest her. You let her go, or you watch her die.
Good call.
I'm glad Kim agrees with us. For all that we are bastards, there is at times the option to be a good person and embrace some measure of hope. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I would have done the same had I not been incapacitated.
I think she didn't do it.
Her tent. We should check it out.
He points to the back of the cavern. I love how many bits of personality we get about Ruby here, particularly the paintings. Clearly those are hers. I like the picture of a woman we get who, when fleeing from the cops, and in particular, a cop she believes to be a vengeful agent from the mob boss that she double-crossed, she takes the time not only to assemble an elaborate death trap, and to test that death trap with what she thinks is ethical practices, but also to express herself. This was clearly important to her. Dark water trails into the distance. There is no way out. Now, if you'll indulge me, well, you've been indulging me for months now, but if you'll indulge me, I just want to point out something that you should be able to figure out if you have a mental map of Martinez. Note these pilings. We entered underneath the Feld building and then traveled north. What's north of the Feld building? We are directly underneath the boardwalk where we found Victor Mejean's body. This is speculation on my part. There's not necessarily anything in the game to support this. But I would just like to point out that the test that Ruby did of the pale latitude compressor broadcasted radio signals and presumably some amount of discomfort directly into the brains of children who were much farther away than she would have been from Victor. And we know from the timeline that Victor died on Monday, a few days prior to us being able to open the waterlock, which is to say, shortly after we arrived in town. I believe that Victor's death, when we see him eyes wide, mouth open in confusion and horror, choking on a mouthful of gum, clearly disoriented, maybe it wasn't just the alcohol that did that to him. Also consider, if Ruby had looked up at just the right angle, she would have seen his leg. And she would have seen it there for days before we even got here. There's another piece of speculation that I would like to indulge in, again, if you'll indulge me further, specifically about Kuno S. Because here I think we get the last piece of that puzzle, the plot line that should have been in the DLC and that was never fully explored. You'll remember, with a little fairly simple deduction, we figured out that Kuno S was being used as the voice of the girl from Hjelmdal in the snuff radio station that was being run by the Hardy Boys, and that some time ago she was let go, or possibly escaped on her own, but I think let go. And why was that? Well, what was it that would motivate Ruby to double-cross a mob boss? Ruby, who lives in Jamrock and works for La Puta Madre and who is a radio expert who can listen to any frequency. I think she was the target audience. She probably heard that snuff broadcast. And, again, speculation on my part, but I think when she came to Evrart and offered to switch sides and work for him, the conversation probably went like, sure, I'll run drugs for you instead of La Puta Madre, but you have to make sure that the snuff station gets turned off. And Everard Clare probably said something like, "Oh, Miss Ruby, I'm sure I don't know what snuff station you're talking about. It's all so disgusting and bloody, but I'm certain that if you come to join us, whatever it is you're talking about will stop." And then, as soon as that conversation ended and she walked out of his shipping container, he radioed over to Titus and said something to the effect of, "Let the girl go." And then Titus, or possibly Tibbs, or maybe even Angus, just threw her out the back door and said, "Remember, don't go to the cops, 'cause you're the one who did all the murders. You're the one who they'll fry for this." I don't think it's a coincidence that Ruby, who we're told had multiple different colors of dyed hair before this, when we see her, she has boyish short hair that is red, not unlike Kuno S. I think that's a little visual nod to clue you in that the two things are related. Anyway, like I said, speculation on my part. We may never know. Let's find out what we can find out. Cooking utensils. She has prepared herself porridge with bananas. 8 real. Don't mind if I do.
The plain red tent stands by dispassionately. It was pitched by practiced hands. She's used to camping out.
Look inside.
The tent looks old, but well maintained. In the darkness of the tent, a rolled-up sleeping bag, cooking utensils, some books, and a kerosene lamp. It reeks of cigarettes.
Shine your flashlight on the books.
Assorted soft covers, mostly pulp horror. A motor carriage lies buried in the snow on one cover. On another, a ghost airship. You also see a collection of radio enthusiast magazines.
See anything?
The lieutenant peeks in over your shoulder. Sift through the magazines.
Rager Monthly, Journal of Material Science. More Technological Digest. One of the magazines doesn't have images on the cover. It's not a magazine. It's a leather notebook.
A notebook.
You pocket the worn brown leather journal. A trusted friend left behind.
We should read this immediately, like right now.
Yeah. A little something to recharge all the healing items that we just spent. Alright, now we're going to read it. Ruby's Journal. A well-loved journal with a brown leather cover and the brand name Schneller embossed on the back. It seems to have served as a loyal friend to a lonely traveler.
A thick journal. The cover is worn like someone used to carry it around in their back pocket.
Examine the cover.
It's made of full-grain leather. The lower left corner of the back cover sports an embossed brand name, Schneller. Schneller is a stationery brand from Gottwald, beloved among architects and engineers. She's got good taste and must have taken whatever she recorded here seriously.
Unwind the strap.
The journal falls open. About 2/3 of its ruled pages have been filled.
Study the handwriting.
The large cursive of someone who writes quickly and confidently.
I'm honestly kind of surprised, given the sensitivity of Ruby's notes, that she doesn't use some sort of code or cipher. But then, we wouldn't have time to decode such a thing, and it would be more than likely that Harry wouldn't be able to, depending on your stat build. Also, who's to say we didn't, and we just don't have an option to spot it, tucked in among the margins or written in invisible ink?
Perhaps too confidently. Many phrases and even paragraphs have been crossed out, with tiny corrections scrawled above and in the margins.
Flip through the pages.
It's a mix of logistical notes, diagrams, and personal reflections, all dated.
It's good she left in a hurry. We could learn a lot from this.
What kinds of logistics?
Hard to tell exactly. It's mostly noted down in code. Looks like contact information, quantities, directions.
There could be useful information about local operations in those notes. We have a junior sergeant at my station who's good with codes. I can give this to her after we finish this.
What are the diagrams of?
Esoteric radio technology. The most recent ones probably pertain to the latitude compressor, sketches, calculations of distance and density. You make out a familiar spiral shape.
Anything personal?
Short, wry observations of people and places. Probably a way to pass the time on the road. Also, what appears to be attempts to sort through some difficult decisions. There are a few passages with many questions in them. The way some of those question marks trail off into ellipsis, she was going through a tough time. Staff issues, always tough on the leadership. You smell traces of betrayal.
How far back do the entries go?
The first entry is from August 2nd of last year. It reads simply, I know my position is precarious. All I can do is make myself as useful as I can while looking for a way out. Remember, no one is indispensable.
What did she write the day Lely died?
Nothing on March 4th. March 5th, though, well, that's bound to come back and bite me in the ass. I'm bad at this. Loyal to a fault. But that's another matter entirely.
Probably in the journal itself, that's is not surrounded by asterisks. More likely to be underlined. But that wouldn't be stylistically consistent.
She is referring to betraying a previous employer. Does this suggest she did it in self-defense?
Anything about La Puta Madre?
That name isn't mentioned as far as you can tell. Small wonder. Would you talk about La Puta Madre in your journal? You do see an M, though. La Puta Madre. M is mentioned on March 9th and March 15th.
Read the entry from March 9th first.
Great. M's peon is coming to town, no doubt to investigate the lynching. But also, I feel it in my gut to finally put a bullet in my head while I'm napping in my lorry or on a smoke break. Well, I won't stick around just to twist my own neck by constantly looking over my shoulder. Then again, isn't that what I've been doing ever since I got the call? The call? Did M call her personally? Why? Were you supposed to find her, even apart from the investigation then? On M's request? No, you wouldn't do something like this. This must be a mistake.
Am I sure this is a mistake? Look at me.
Whatever you may look like, you don't feel like a hired assassin.
Read the entry from March 12th.
Been holed up here for 3 days now. I'm used to being alone and all, but I don't know when I'll be able to leave, or if I'll be ratted out. They will rat me out, of course. I've made it a point to believe in the best in people, the boys, for example. But experience tells me, did M feel truly betrayed by me? I was feeling threatened. He'd have to know if he threatened people, they'd take measures to protect themselves. Even I know that. Economic measures first of all. Gotta make a living, right? I can still hear his voice in the receiver. Taste the plastic.
There is one thing that pokes a hole in my theory that it was Ruby's insistence that made the Hardys let Kuno S go. And that's the fact that she was chummy with them. But of course, their voices were never the ones on the Snuff radio show. She might not have known they were the ones running it. That might help to explain why Titus had been keeping her at arm's length this whole time. Not because he feared a challenge to his leadership or a competent woman. Maybe he didn't want to chance her finding out what he had been doing before she came to Martinez.
The entry ends abruptly.
What's the most recent entry?
The most recent entry is from today. It reads, even when I leave here, if I leave here alive, what's my next move? Staging a lynching is a crime, even if I'm not accused of murder on top of that. Forever on the run. Not really my idea of the open road. Man, I was really looking forward to winning.
It looks like she might have been framed.
The lieutenant taps on the page. Kim, am I really a La Puta Madre agent?
No, I don't think you are. Ask someone in your precinct if you want to be sure.
He truly does not believe you are. Perhaps he shouldn't be so trusting.
I mean, we get away with a lot of wacky bullshit, largely because we are so wacky. Kim thinks he knows us pretty well, but we've known him for less than a week. Has he been able to see through us? If she didn't do it, maybe it's a good thing that we didn't catch her?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. We have other reasons to arrest her.
He frowns.
Besides, I'm not sure her life as a fugitive is going to be much better than we does. Especially if she has problems with the Madre.
Then who do you think killed the merc?
Classio was the one who pointed the finger at Ruby. Perhaps she was trying to steer us away from herself, or
But no one heard the shot.
maybe she had an accomplice. Either way, we need to keep an eye on her. One thing is for certain. We have business back in the whirling and rags. Questions to ask. We should get to it.
Indeed. We got 2 skill points in the chamber. I'm going to keep them for now. And yes, our task now is to return to the whirling and rags. Now there is, much like the twins, a path that we did not go down. And that's because of our stat build. Honestly, given that I went with 6114, there was really no way around this. It's simply not possible to get to Inland Empire high enough on the first day. If your Inland Empire is reasonably high, then when you first pull your horrific necktie off of the ceiling fan, it starts talking to you. It reveals that it's, in a way, your imaginary friend, and it tries to help you, largely by steering you into drugs and alcohol and away from responsibility. But if we had spoken with our necktie, right about now, it would be offering to sacrifice itself. You may recall, we got that bottle of medicinal spirits from Rosemary. On that path, the horrific necktie gets stuffed into the bottle for use as a Molotov cocktail. It's honestly quite beautiful, the whole narrative of letting go of your trusted disco friend. But we don't have our improvised Molotov cocktail because our tie didn't tell us to make it. That means we're gonna need this instead. And what the heck? Just to look threatening. And while we're at it, do I want to dose up? No, you know what? All the relevant stats are high enough. I'm sure I'll be fine. Alright. Let's get dressed. Need this. Might as well get these. Where am I? There they are. There really should be a better way to sort your items. Let's see. We're gonna need suggestion. Do we have anything for suggestion? This is always the question. How do you balance these things? Is a bonus to one worth a penalty to something else? Should see if we can get something for empathy as well. There's a bunch of checks coming up. Let's see, we should get logic. Oh, empathy, there we go. Are the pants worth it? Yeah, no, we gotta get these pants out of here. Gotta have something good for pants. Won't need that. Might be good. No. Not really. Oh, what the heck. Well, it's a look, all right. What do you think? Style icon? Do we look like a communist? Do we look like a cop?
Holding the gun feels natural and satisfying. It's like an extension of your arm, the polished wooden handle almost fusing into your palm.
I think my hand recognizes it.
It reminds you of the day you first held it, with fear and respect, hoping you don't have to use it in vain. The sun was out in Jamrock. It was so long ago. Sheathe your sidearm, officer. A serious law official, cop by the book, should know to only unholster their service weapon when using it is unavoidable.
Oh, I know. But I regret to inform you. Now's the time.
Stop. Just up ahead. Danger. You are prepared. Don't put away your friend, your weapon. The barrels of your Villier's 9mm pistol shine threateningly in the cold spring lights.
There are 3 weapons that you can have here. If we had talked to our Thai, we could possibly have the spirit bomb. If we had let Ruby kill herself, we'd have her gun. I think we've got the best of our 3 options. Kim, there's danger. Up ahead.
Yes, I hear commotion. Let's go.
I'm scared.
This isn't the time for fear. Go.
True bravery is not the absence of fear. It is feeling fear and doing what needs to be done anyway.
I'm all out of shits to give, loincloth. Welcome to the fucking reckoning.
Put your damn gun down. People are gonna get hurt. We need to talk this through. All right?
Shut up! You're not gonna talk yourself out of this, loincloth shit fuck.
This is the mercenary at the gates. His chest rises and falls under the ceramic breastplate. His fingers reach for the butt of his sidearm.
Kim, what's going on here?
Shh.
The lieutenant raises his left hand.
This is a misunderstanding. Nothing irreversible has happened yet. You can just return to your unit and forget all about this.
The Kipt is merciful, willing to spare us if we just forget about our murdered and humiliated commander. I think we should just kill everyone, Corty.
Her tone is frighteningly emotionless.
You are all drunk. Come to your senses. You won't gun down 7 people in the middle of the street. This isn't a frontier town or a jungle outpost.
She sounds very sure of herself. I think there's something to be said for the idea of broken windows policing, even in a case like this. These mercenaries are used to committing horrific war crimes in third world countries. The rest of Revachol might look too polite for this kind of behavior. But Martinez, is still bombed to shit. 50 years later, it's still a war zone. And we know what these people do in war zones.
Easy, Lizzie. Let me handle it. I know guys like this. I'm sure we can come to a peaceful agreement. Ain't that right, fellas?
He is facing overwhelmingly superior firepower, and he knows it.
Peaceful.
It sounds like the armored figure is weeping. Note, we knew about these two. Who's this third guy? There's a parallel, and it will become obvious later when there's a similarly structured scene. But you'll recall Ruby let us know when we rolled into town, we had our partner, we had Judith with us, but there was a third guy. Someone muscular and blonde. This is his counterpart. In a way, this man is Waluigi. No, seriously. If Harry is Mario, then his partner is Luigi. Then the dead man, as in that fan art that I popped up earlier, would be Wario, our dark reflection. And that would make this guy, his partner, Waluigi. You know, I'm just trying to inject a little levity into this, scene. By the way, I mentioned warning for possible violence in the previous scene. For this upcoming trial, go ahead and forget the possible part. Brace yourselves. The guns are out.
Nest in your abdominal cavity like a little wild mouse. The masked man's words are barely intelligible, but you can hear them.
Fuck, there's a third one. How did we miss something like this?
The lieutenant points to the helmeted figure.
This third one, he is the most dangerous of them all, heavily armed.
We're out of time. This is...
The Mercenary Tribunal.
The lieutenant nods. What do we do?
My plan is not to get killed, but we have to intervene.
He doesn't want to, but he must.
Stop! This is the police. Get between them.
Get lost, comedian. You cops had your chance. Now it's fucking time for some justice.
He licks his lips, waving his gun at the crowd. Losing his balance for a moment, he staggers backward.
Pig fuck!
Is the only word you can make out. I can see you're drunk.
Ah, yeah. Welcome to the fucking party. You're probably gonna get killed too. I don't give a shit if you're cops.
No one is going to kill anyone. Let's just put the guns down and talk like civilized human beings.
She doesn't seem to understand the severity of the situation.
Lizzie, unlike the rest of the people in this scene, doesn't deal with physical violence for a living. She lives and works in a courtroom where this sort of thing just doesn't happen, where words can win. But words aren't bulletproof.
With a wordless gurgle, the killer loads his long rifle. The leader gives a small nod to the helmeted man. Suddenly, the grip of your sidearm feels comforting and warm in your hand. Feels like it's saying, do it. Shoot him in the mouth. Shoot him before he shoots you. No, wait. It's good you have that gun. It really is. Just soften him up first. Present an argument. I'm barely keeping you together here. This is it. The big one. If you talk to him, he will rattle you, not the other way around.
You're all drunk. Look at yourselves.
Yes. So what?
Your judgment is impaired. You'll regret this.
Nah, I'm clear as day. Fucking government-ordained super soldier.
Enough already! What is this? We didn't come here to fucking chat!
Interrupt me again, and I will execute you on the spot, Lance Corporal.
The outburst is accompanied by yellowish saliva around his mouth. The Wild Pines rep does not approve of this.
You think I care what that company cunt thinks?
He laughs. It's a hollow laughter. Wild Pines is not going to forgive you massacring a bunch of innocent people. I think that's a more effective argument than Joyce is going to be mad. Joyce can be mad, but do you really want to go up against a corporation that controls 8% of the world's cargo? I wouldn't want to.
The man stares at you with bloodshot eyes, a bull ready to charge. He's not listening, but looking for an opening. Now is not a good time to strike. He's looking right at your hands. Do something else. Get him distracted.
Okay, let me just say one thing.
Fucking waste this fuck!
Who is that? I didn't know you had a third guy.
Rude. Rude is the killer. Rude, the killer. Owen Cloven. He doesn't talk much.
All of you cunts inside out.
What was that, Rude?
Rip you open.
Perhaps it's for the best. Him not talking too much.
The killer?
The gunner, the raddest, the killer.
He points to the figure clad entirely in ceramic plate. Raddest in this case would be the person who handles the radio.
What do you think he does?
There, on the rim of Owen Cloven's helmet, you count little stick figures. 19, 20, 21.
Count the figures.
About 50 little stick figures. All of them black, plus 2 little white ones in the end.
He keeps track of the race of the people he kills. I'm assuming that was what that means.
These men served in Seminine, the native islanders. The 2 little white figures in the end are from when they moved to Rivershaw. They're recent.
Kills black people almost exclusively?
That's right. Plenty of kids here in Revachol, too.
Love that fantasy racism.
T, let's fucking do it.
The man presses through his teeth. His hand is on his belt. Now, I went down this path on purpose, even though it's, uncomfortable subject matter, because I wanted to point out the genius of this one line and the way it's written. Eugene says T, not Titus. He could be talking to Titus, the guy who's nominally in charge. But he could also be talking to the former leader, Theo. So it's open-ended. Is he obeying the current structure of command and asking Titus for permission to get into a fight? Or is he talking to his fellow dark-skinned person and saying, we gotta get away from these crazy racists? Either way, Theo isn't the one who's gonna answer him. Listen, they didn't do it.
Yeah? Who did then?
So our options are Titus, Claudia, Ruby. We can say it was me. Or I just need a little time to figure this out. I'm gonna go with the right answer. It was someone else. Someone who's not here now.
How fucking convenient.
He gives you a drunken stare, then puts his hand on the gun.
His fingers are twitching. That's a draw reflex. He's about to draw.
He was shot from a great distance. A sniper did it.
You think I'm fucking stupid, cop? What if I just shot one of your pals here, right now, huh? How about the kid? Tell me it was a magic fucking sniper one more time.
Listen, please. This cop and this drumhead cop marshal won't decide who...
Why doesn't he believe me?
The Hardy Boys confessed to hanging him, all together. Titus said we took him out back and hanged him. He said it loud, in a public place.
Listen, he was shot. He wasn't hanged. Listen to me.
You're lying. DePaul heard it.
He doesn't move the weapon.
A Kiel Model 40 revolver, 8 rounds in the barrel. The gun slowly sways in his hand from the inebriation.
You heard wrong. She and these men have been helping us find the shooter.
The hanging was only a cover-up. Listen.
Fucking liars.
He pulls the trigger. A plume of smoke erupts from the muzzle of his gun.
The shot rings in your ears, a low, tinny ring. Then the Hardy Boys yell something. The young woman stands and looks behind her. The shot has flown over her head, crashing a small pane of the glass window behind her.
I missed.
The man looks at his revolver and smiles. Well, we've made all the right calls so far. You're welcome, Elizabeth.
Not true. He purposefully over-aimed and shot the window. You had him second-guessing himself, only for a second. Do not assume he will miss the next time.
I know what I heard, Corty. They said they killed him. They said it was a good way to end a Sunday night.
They sure did say that.
That doesn't sound good. You need to change the topic now, or there will be another shot. What topic? Shots have been fired. Act before it's too late. This was a close call.
Where is Klaja? She can explain this.
Who the fuck is that?
Glacia, the woman upstairs, where is she?
She left!
The manager calls down from the balcony.
Unarmed, hunched, but keeping it together.
Gart, what the hell are you doing here?
What am I doing? My fucking establishment is under fire! You know how much windows cost?
What do you mean she left?
She left! Her room's cleaned out! Right before these assholes showed up!
We should have arrested her.
The lieutenant whispers, his eyes still on the armed mercenaries.
Hey, Bushman! Your little cunt isn't gonna help you out of this one!
Think of an argument.
All right, here we go. This is an illegal tribunal. Granell would never sanction this. Who's the commanding officer? Take your pick. You only have time for one argument. Choose wisely.
Just a question. Who's in charge of your unit after the death of your colonel?
I am a Cornell major with over 15 years of live combat experience. When my colonel gets hanged by clay monkeys, I lead the platoon on a retaliation strike.
So you are the highest ranking of the three of you?
Nah, I just have the biggest gun.
He raps on his armored barrel-like chest. Tale as old as time. Big guy's in charge, whether officially or otherwise.
Technically, the other man has the biggest gun, but we're beyond that now.
As the leader of this group, reconsider your actions. This does not need to end in bloodshed.
You're right, but you see, I want it to end in bloodshed.
Cordy's not a great guy.
Okay, it's not much, but he's thinking about something else, and his hand is off the gun. This did something.
Now this is the real gamble. I possibly should have taken drugs before this, but 42%. That's pretty close to half. Cross your fingers, everybody.
Dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Ask about him first. You don't want personal facts about his dead friend coming out of your mouth. He has to start it.
I knew you weren't a goddamn scab leader.
Yeah, I don't fucking act so well. Laylee had a hard-on for making faces with you natives. Fucking food aid shit. That shit is done now. Trigger time.
As much as the dead guy was a real handful, who made quote-unquote jokes about war crimes, he was the face of this unit. He was the charismatic one. And when you get rid of the guy who talks, well, what you have left are the gunner, the raddest, and the killer. Who are you? A major?
Sergeant Major Raoul Cortiner, reporting in to burn this fucking mud hut to the ground.
He points at the whirling in rags.
As he moves, the interlocking pieces of his armor click softly. Click, click, click. The realization comes to you like a picture puzzle coming together. His name is Raoul Cortiner. The dead man's name is Elise Cortiner. He's brothers with the deceased.
For killing, maiming, and humiliating our commanding officer, you're all sentenced to death by lead.
He had blue eyes, didn't he? Your colonel.
Baby blue, yeah. Like someone fucked up and put a baby's eyes on a grown man.
He smiles, pulling his face in a strange way.
It was creepy, but bitches like that shit, I guess. Or, I don't know what bitches like. I just know how to mow down cloths.
His parents left him in a fucking leaf compactor.
Who? Lady?
Yeah, when he was small, just an infant.
We researched him. We contacted the ICP and looked at his birth records. That was in there. And other things.
They fucking put Laylee in a leaf compactor, and now these cunts finished the job.
He waves at the gang huddled by the doors.
There's real anguish in his voice. A drunken sadness suddenly engulfs him. Memories.
It's a mindfuck, Corty. He wasn't put in a leaf compactor. They're making it up to fuck with us. Major, permission to.
Open fire. We can't have that. Interfere now.
Listen, you're Laylee. Everyone says good things about him. He was a talker.
Fuck do you mean, talker?
We've heard testimony. People say he was charismatic, a nice guy to be around.
Well, depending on people. Clashes certainly liked him.
Yeah, he liked to chat up the natives. Share leaflets. Squeeze a bit of kit tass here and there. Great fucking idea that turned out to be.
He points toward the yard.
If Laylee was here, he would spare the lot of you. Maybe shoot one for sure. But me, I'm not a big fan of public affairs, clay monkey. I'll gun every one of you down for what you did.
Ready to open fire, Major. At your command.
Cortiner. I know that name.
He sways from left to right, inspecting you.
Raoul and Ellis Cortiner. Look him in the eye. I'm sorry about your brother, Raoul.
He wasn't my fucking brother. We just grew up on the same farm and got beat into place by the same sick fuck.
And then went into the same military academy and the same unit and the same war?
Same fucking mud hut town, too.
He looks around, then wipes his face with his armored glove. We're getting to him.
Okay, good.
Your brother did not deserve to go out like that. I promise. I will find his killer.
Find his killer. Cop, his killer stands right there, shitting his pants, and you're standing in the way, protecting him. I know what this tactic is, Silo Sam. You're gonna die for them. Right here.
He stares at you, eyes pink from the alcohol, fingers tapping the pistol.
Big talk, but that leaf compactor won't leave his mind anytime soon. It's a small thing, but it got him off center.
Stand there quietly, hope nothing bad happens? I'll tell you right now, it doesn't work. This is our only shot. It's the only check we have left. Can we shoot him? And it's gotta be a headshot before he can shoot us. We only lose on snake eyes, but it is possible. Let's go.
A plume of smoke and fire erupts from the gun, and your hand goes numb from the explosion.
Look through the smoke rising from the barrel.
The smoke drifts west with the wind. You hear the plaza erupt in violence, slow like a waterfall in reverse.
Look at Cortanar.
There is a hole in his cheek. Blood gushes out as he stumbles backward, eyes filled with rage and disbelief, gurgling, muttering something unintelligible. His lips, moving, swollen with fear, are trying to say, shoot him, but he can't. To your right, the killer raises his rifle and takes aim at you. His moves are steady, but the long barrel of the rifle sways slowly.
There's nothing in the game to indicate this, but you might remember a long time ago, I talked to the cook in the Whirling in Rags, and I told him to turn down the alcohol in the borscht. As I said, that's one of the few true ethical choices that you can make in this game. It's the choice not to get people drunk against their will and without their consent. And that is the reason that everyone else just ran away. If I hadn't made that choice, they'd still have a little Dutch courage in them, and they'd be standing their ground. And if that happened, well, they don't make it. That cowardice is saving their lives. Now you know.
An Easter AR-FA-7, built for taking out light armored vehicles. It will devastate you.
Kim. Where is Kim?
From the corner of your eye, you see the lieutenant raise his pistol and aim it at Rude. He's trying to find a straight line of sight before the rifleman can take you out. In the background, the leader staggers. It's not easy. He has 0.6 seconds to do so. He won't make it. You're on your own.
Blink. Think.
You stare down the barrel of the gun. You see Rude's mask behind it, his eyes in the slit of the helmet, like a camera lens, focusing on you. 0.4 seconds remain. There are 6 little black dots in the tip of the barrel, like a honeycomb. This is a knock cannon. It shoots 6 rounds in one pull of the trigger. Absolute destruction.
Weird time to get a skill point, but I'll take it.
Is there anything we could use to protect this frail body? That gun will tear us to pieces.
Our chest, hands, and shins are currently protected by that same ceramic armor. But there's nothing that protects our lower body, and we never did find that helmet.
He's drunk. Drunk fighters overcorrect. Move right, he aims further right. Get him to overshoot. A full suit of armor can't be too agile. You can shift direction faster than he can.
Dodge the shot.
You leap left. A swarm of angry lead passes mere millimeters from your side, tearing fabric off your coat. Feels like the lightest of tucks.
Joy, I am alive.
The man tilts his head, trying to see through the clearing smoke for the next shot. Watch out. To your left, DePaul is about to take a shot too, at Kim.
Unfortunately, unlike a lot of other RPGs, we can't give items to our other party members. Kim's got nothing.
God, please.
The lieutenant says quietly, without trembling. He aims, face pale. I just want to remind you of something. Kim told us about his partner, who had to help him had to point things out for him. It is implied that that partner is no longer with us. But there is a prevailing fan theory, and I too believe it, that Kim Kitsuragi is calling out for God. But it isn't God who helps him. It's his partner guiding him one last time. His partner, who they called
He's aiming for the eye
Eyes.
slot in Rude's helmet. An extremely difficult shot. 2 shots ring at once. One from the lieutenant's pistol, and the other from the balls. It's aimed at the lieutenant, but it misses. You hear a scream behind you.
Kim, did he hit the rifleman?
Blood gushes from the helmet's eye sockets as Rude staggers back, disoriented. The sounds coming from his helmet are not human.
You always succeed on boxcars.
An unbelievable shot from the lieutenant. The helmet looks like the face of an ancient god of war, crying blood.
Who screamed?
Glenn, dying in a puddle of blood behind you. His mangled torso has 2 gunshot wounds. Blood gushes out of them like red geysers.
Not to brag, but I've done everything right here. Glenn dies no matter what. Sorry.
Oh God, watch out. You see 2 crazed eyes stare at you through all the smoke and the panic. With blood gushing from his face, the man raises his pistol at you. Then he squeezes the trigger.
Look him in the eye.
The look of vengeance, framed in blood, lips shaking. This is the last thing he'll do on Earth. But he will do it. He is your end.
Until now, this word, impossible, has just been a type of difficulty. But I'll let you know, the game cheats. We don't make this.
You can't. There is no time. Something inside your pelvis explodes. Your entire lower body is on fire and your legs can't support you. You fall down like a rag doll. The pain is too immense to scream. It pushes the air out of your lungs. Everything goes dark. A distant blur as you recede into it.
Listen through the darkness and the pain.
The Hardy Boys are screaming, fighting, dying. Someone jumps over you. Nearby gunfire shatters glass.
Stop! The cop! Protect the cop! He's down!
Titus isn't a great guy in a lot of ways. But you make friends with him, he'll be friends with you. Touch your lower body.
Feels slick and warm with blood. The pain is too strong to know what has happened there. Even clutching to your consciousness takes everything you got.
What parts of me are missing?
Most of what's down there.
Oh God.
It's all gone. Open your eyes now. You have to see what's happening. No. It's just a fear. Even if... who cares? No one wants you anyway.
Even in this moment, on some level, Harry's thinking about getting laid. Yeah, it goes that deep. Try to open your eyes. What do I see?
Nothing. A persisting darkness. Dancing lights of pain. Distant shadows cast by them. Like a hellish play.
You're bleeding out.
There's a very important check coming up, and it's not a skill we're particularly good at. And, as you might have guessed, we only get one shot. The wolf is at the door, Kim. He will eat the sun.
Yes, keep talking. Stay awake. Look at me.
The lieutenant pushes down on your wound, hard.
But you can't. It's so hard. Your eyelids grow heavy, and the sounds ever more distant. And a cold comes over you. The lieutenant, too, is somewhere far away, almost gone, when suddenly you sense something behind him. A slender white shadow towering. Someone stands there, raising her pistol at him. The lieutenant does not see it. He's pushing down on your wound with both hands.
Scream immediately. He's gonna die.
Just like on the dance floor. We have to make an authority check. But fortunately, after going through all the side quests, and with all the success we've banked until now, we've got a pretty good shot. But still, there's always a chance. Let's save Kim.
Shoot.
Oh my
There.
God!
You hear your bloody lips mumble. You try to give him your gun.
You
so
are
he
kidding me.
understands. But he does not. He doesn't look into your eyes and see the fear there.
I cannot believe we got Snake Eyes. That is a legit 1 in 36 chance. Holy cow!
He just shakes his head, still crouched over you. You hear a distant gunshot, velvety smooth. A red circle has appeared on the lieutenant's jacket. It's growing fast. Like a pillow, he falls on you, cold nylon and blood slumped on you as the lights go out. All the lights. The last thing you hear is the sound of his spectacles landing on the pavement next to you.
Fall into total darkness.
This is death. One more door, baby. One more door.
Will I be a ghost now?
Brother, you already were a ghost. Up there screaming along with all of them, scaring each other, haunting each other. It's the living who are ghosts. The dead are silent. They don't rattle windows or write letters in blood. The living do. Leave them behind. Rest.
No. Let me back into the fight. Let me save Kim.
Kim, there is no Kim. There is no fight. It's over. It was.
Have mercy on yourself. Take the door.
He's not taking it. His body is not taking it. Oh God, no. He's not disintegrating. He's swelling up instead. Over the hours, hurting, moaning in his sleep, and rotting, and being disinfected, and smelling of drugs, and feeling saliva in his mouth, drifting in painkillers, thrashing in his wound sleep.
He can't go. Not before the case is solved. There is a radio in the distance. A radio of the world. Playing sounds. Good morning, Elysium. Soon he will return to the world.
Hours turn to days. Soon we will get up again and go through it again. Finally, we know what the infernal engine was outside. The clarion call.
The engine of a caprice Canabo.
No, it was him. He is the infernal engine. Can't you see? He never stops. He only gets worse.
We're not
You see
done.
Kuno's familiar shape in the found pants. It turns double, then triple from the pain. He says,
Coinslot's dead?
you can barely hear him. The pain is so bad.
Wait. What?
Just kidding, Pico. The boo-boo wagon took the Beano cloud away. He's probably gonna live.
What? Where'd they take him?
To the hospital, fucktard. Try to keep up with Kuno.
He glares at you with something akin to respect.
Thank God. Okay, he's alive.
They say you shot that fucker in the face. That's fucking cool to Kuno. So I thought I'd stick around.
He's saying I now, and not calling you a or a pig. Is he ill or something?
Hold on. There's something different about you, Kuno.
Nah, Kuno's just off speed for a few days.
There's a melancholy look in his eyes.
Being off speed makes Kuno sad. Makes Kuno think about shit.
He makes vague gestures around his head with his fingers. Be straight with me. I need to get my bearings.
Sure, Kuno's gonna help you with that. Kuno's in a given mood right now.
What happened to me?
You tore some shit up there, pig. Got shot too.
Kuno is looking at you like a tamed wolf would look at his master. Like an equal. How badly am I hurt?
How would Kuno know? Kuno's not a fucking doctor.
He looks at you like you're an idiot.
Pretty fucking bad, Kuno thinks. But you're one lucky pig. The doc took the bullet out and said you'll live.
He points to your left leg. Can I walk?
Are your legs attached to Kuno? Can the Kuno move your legs? The fuck should I know?
You won't be able to dance much, that's for sure. You should be able to live with limping around, though, if you can call that a life.
Has anyone from my station been to see me?
You keep asking all this weird shit from Kuno that the Kuno has no way of knowing about.
Do you know who treated me, Kuno?
Kuno did?
He didn't.
You said there was a doctor who removed the bullet from my leg?
Yeah, some cunt from your station came over and knife fucked you when you were sleeping. Nick's Fuckleave, I think he was called. Said he was a doctor, then fucked off and told me to phone him if you shit yourself.
If he did triage and left, you must be relatively stable.
Are you hurt?
Why, in the name of fuck, would Kuno be hurt?
The kid rolls his eyes at you.
Kuno's fucking smart. Kuno wasn't in that fuck pile. Kuno knows when shit goes south, unlike you.
Get up. Slowly.
Go easy, pig. You want to lean on the Kuno or something?
Ouch. Ouch. The kid turns double for a second. Damn, that hurts. Breathe. Your balance is way off. You feel like you're about to fall over.
So, how is it?
My disco days are done.
Yeah, you got lucky there, pig. Maybe now Kuno can show you what real, brutal, hard music is.
Still, you see something akin to respect in his eyes.
What happened to my room?
Baby Beard was in here. Was probably a bitch to clean this shit up.
This seems to please him.
Baby Beard. That can only be Gart, the cafeteria manager.
You mean Gart?
Yeah, fucking Baby Beard. Cleaned all your shit up. He's like your fucking mum now or something.
How long was I out?
2 days. Kuno's been out longer sleeping off the speed train. 2 days is nothing. 2 days is nothing to the Kuno.
Even now, he wants to impress us somehow. What happened to the others?
Some of those Union goons got fucked. Now the whole harbour is in lockdown. Even Kuno can't get in there.
Everard probably used this armed altercation as an excuse to completely barricade himself in the harbour and cut off all communications with the outside world.
Do you know if Klaja, the blonde next door, is really gone?
Yeah, she's way gone, pig. Kuno's been here for 2 days, And Baby Beard and you are the only fucks in the building.
Of course she's really gone. What did you think?
Is Titus all right?
The big fuckhole. Yeah, he's drinking downstairs. Kuno's not into that.
There's a flash of respect on his freckled face. Well, at least Kuno's not into alcohol. The whole harbor's in lockdown?
Yeah, that's what Kuno said. No one goes in or out. Shit's paranoid now.
Thanks for telling me, Kuno.
No problem. Kuno shares the info.
What do you think I should do now, Kuno?
The fuck you asking Kuno for? How would Kuno know? Kuno's fucking 12.
But I don't know either.
Tough shit, pig. All Kuno knows is the harbour is in lockdown. Town's fucked now. Half the Hardy bitches are dead, and even your company bitch left.
He's really been keeping tabs on you. The Hardys, even the company rep.
As I've said before, Kuno's smart.
Kuno thinks you're fucked, but I can help you. What you got? Bounce that shit off Kuno.
Again, something in him is shifting, changing.
The fucking Maybells, Kuno. The flowers.
Yeah, what? What bells?
Yank it out and show the dried flower while it falls to pieces. This flower, Kuno.
Fuck, pig. Kuno doesn't know about this flower shit. Kuno's not feeling it.
He's wrong. What does he even know?
Kuno, somehow this is connected to the case.
Sure, pig, sure. You better have more than some fucking roses if you want to bust this.
The miracle hasn't happened yet. It's not over yet.
Miracle? Shit. What is this weak shit? You gotta watch your own back. Miracles don't fucking happen in matinees. Get real.
There's a 28% possibility the victim was shot from a distance.
Yeah, that sounds real to Kuno. Forensic shit. True crime shit. Let's check out some crime scenes and assess shit. Pig style. Anything else?
It's simple, Kuno. I have to find communism. Communism killed the hanged man.
Is that like a fucking street name or something? It's pretty cool to Kuno.
The coolest, Kuno, but unfortunately it's an ideology, not a person.
Come on, pig. Thoughts didn't kill Kuno's gimp. It was a person. Even Kuno can figure this shit out.
There was a hole in Klaus's wall. Someone was checking her out. Peeping.
Huh? That could have been there for years. Kuno thinks it's a dead end.
The fuck, Kuno?
You want Kuno to be a yes man? Or you want me to tell it like it is? Walls are full of holes here, pig. Even Kuno knows that.
There is no telling when it was made. He had a point there.
There were some footprints in the dust in the room behind Klaus's.
There are fucking footprints everywhere, pig. Pigs are too into this footprint shit. Kuno just saw footprints outside on the sidewalk.
There's something creeping around out there. I sense it.
Yeah? Like what?
Something.
Shit. Playing the Kuno like that? You better have something else for me.
Well, thanks for your help, Kuno.
Shit ain't nothing to Kuno. What now?
I don't know, but I won't give up, Kuno.
Will Pig, you ready to walk, Will Pig?
I'm ready, Kuno.
So, listen, Pig. Kuno's been thinking about shit and, Kuno's coming with you. Help you wrap this shit up, final style.
What style was that?
Final style. You fucked everything up. Now Kuno's all you got. Terminal Kuno.
Why do you want to come with me?
This scene is dead. Kuno's out of here. Might as well be a pig. Big up fucky fingers on me way out.
Big up fucky fingers. He is a free thinker. Beyond the box. Can't argue with that.
Were we so different when we were in the 15th Indo tribe?
Kid would make a half-decent sharpshooter, no? Look at him. Life hasn't been easy on him. You want to drag him along and put him through more shit? Your shit? Trying to recruit him is like trying to make a pet out of fire. This kid recognizes only one authority. His own. He is streetwise, knows the neighborhood, knows the people. He could be useful.
All right, saddle up.
Accepted the Kuno like a motherfucker. What are we gonna do now?
Now, as to what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, debrief Kuno. Let Kuno know the plan.
The kid rubs his hands together.
A gust of wind blows in from the bay. The duraluminum box around you vibrates imperceptibly. A familiar cold, a red thread on the roof upstairs. Taut, plucked like a string by the gust.
Thanks for the heads up, Shivers. We should check Klaja's room.
It's next door. That's what Kuno's thinking too. Good call. Let's rock it, Pigman.
Stereo 8 player has been reunited with its right speaker. The bed still smells of your sweat and blood. Newly replaced glass shining in the morning light. You hear traffic outside. Back in the world again. You see gleaming white enamel. No bottles inside. Look, the door is open. You can walk right into Kim's room. This is where Kim's been staying. The alarm is set for 6:50 a.m. He gets up exactly 10 minutes before we do.
These papers bear the stamp of the RCM. They appear to be fragments of the lieutenant's paperwork, half finished. You make out notes on this and other recent cases.
Look, Kuno, Lieutenant Kitsuragi's notes.
The child. Dom's unfinished. Dom's unfinished too. The man with the hole in his head. Boring ass shit. Motorcycle emptiness. That's a cool case. Kuno can solve that shit for the Beano.
Don't call him a Beano.
No one tells Kuno what to call something. But the Beano was alright in Kuno's book. Kuno's pig.
What has he written on this case?
Very little. This is a daily write-up. He's just started copying notes from his notebook, preparing them for filing. The case appears to be named, however.
What is the name?
HDB 41 0803. The Furies are at home in the mirror. He went with the Furies. Perhaps the internal strife it implies was not so off after all. Or perhaps to honor your wishes, or for some other reason. Hard to say.
We may have failed that authority check with Snake Eyes, but Kim did respect our authority. What about the other cases? What do we have here?
This year, you can see references to The Child, Dom's Unfinished, Dom's Unfinished 2, Motorcycle Emptiness, and The Man with the Hole in His Head.
Anything more?
Half a dozen stolen property cases, titled Crossword Puzzles 2 to 2000.
Close the notes. We can't go out through Kim's door, because, as we know, doors in the Whirling in Rags can lock from the inside, and we don't have Kim's key. That leg hurts. Maybe if you don't run, it'll be okay? That's not actually a mechanic. Let's see if Klaja has anything for us. Looks like she's left something on the table.
Next to the stack of bills, you see a note, a few lines jotted down in large, uneven handwriting, just as the writer was about to rush out the door. I'm sorry, I fucked everyone over. P.S. I didn't kill him. P.P.S. Gift upstairs.
A gift, huh? That's fucking suspicious to Kuno.
What could this gift be?
A trap, probably. But don't sweat it. You got the Kuno spot on you. Let's go in.
Seems she left in a hurry.
Yeah. Fugitive on the run shit. Kuno's seen this shit before.
You look at her rough, jagged handwriting on the note. She was in a rush, but not panicked. Deliberate. Focused.
Prepared. Brave, you could say. One thing that I really like about Klaja's design, you can tell with pretty certain, some pretty certain pretty strong certainty that her story about being on the run is legit. Because of those bangs. You ever seen a movie where a woman is on the run? First thing she does is cut her own bangs. The red thread. A red thread made of nylon. It leads out of the room and onto the roof. The thread is tied to the antenna. Kim isn't with us, so he can't give his opinion.
You see the same two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman, only now a red thread bisects the room, pointing from the antenna outside to the cupboard on the wall.
Oh, Kuno knows this shit. Ballistic shit, science radio shit. Shows where the shot came from.
A ray of backward motion explodes from his mouth to the roof outside, A prime, to then widen into a radius of locations in Martinez. B prime, B double prime, and B triple prime.
Where does the thread lead?
It suggests the bullet came from the extreme upper quadrant of possible angles, from a point beyond the roof. B triple prime, the island in the bay.
Is Klaja trying to tell us that the shot came from the islet?
Pig? You're really fucking onto something there.
There are ruins on that islet. A sunken sea fort. I saw it in the coin-operated viewer.
Yeah, Kuno's seen that shit. Crazy shit. Ain't nothing to Kuno, but lots of places to hide there.
How did she know how to do this?
Kuno's got no fucking clue. You need to pig this shit, cop style.
This is also the only point of origin I haven't ruled out yet.
Cool shit, Sub-Zero shit. Kuno's listening, you got his attention, so what's next?
Looks like we need to go to the island.
The wind blows in from the open window. The boy squints, looking into the cold distance across the water. The lead is flimsy. You might as well go around Martinez, looking under every rock and talking to every person. But what else is there? There, across the grey water, amidst crumbling concrete, a birch tree, the ruins of a flat tower, remember?
What else is there?
To do, you mean? Nothing. Harbor's closed, everyone's dead. This scene is dead, pig.
I remember an anti-aircraft gun, the ruins of one on the island.
Totally what a sniper would use. Aircraft gun.
No. I'm going to the island. Are you in?
Fuck yeah, I'm in.
He spits on the floor.
How are you gonna get to the island? Kuno has his ways, but that ain't for your fat old ass.
Maybe someone in the fishing village can help?
There's this lady in the village. She... yeah, there are boats there. You go, do shit there. You'll get one on the coast.
I will say this. The game is not subtle in telling you what you need to do next. I did not expect that we were not going to make that authority check. But Kim's alive. I'm very, very tempted. But no, I'm not going to save scum this. Because, if nothing else, at least we save Kuno. In this plot line, in this extremely improbable sequence of events, we can rescue Kuno from his situation, from homelessness. If I make the rest of my checks correctly. And of course, this reveal is not that much of a surprise. It's a surprise to Harry, of course. It's a surprise to a lot of the characters in this game. But anyone studying the structure of the story, you would have known that, yeah, we go to the island. You can see it on the map. It's the one point that we don't check because until now we haven't had the option. But also, we knew from the very moment we started this game. Let me show you something. Do a quick save there just in case. And look at this beautiful painting. This moving painting that we saw before we even started. The game told us, right from the word go. If you know the layout of Martinez, you know what point of view this is. We are looking south. You can see the church. You can see the tent on the ice. You can see the harbor. You can even see Jamrock way in the background. You can see the statue. And right there, you can see the angle. This moving painting is the point of view of the killer. And we're gonna go meet that killer next time. Until then, I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Like I said, this was an intense one. And I'm glad you've stuck with me until now. If you missed anything, of course, feel free to go back and check the VODs. They're recorded for a reason. But for now, this is Wanda Wicks, signing out.